or part of the video is concentrated on the fourth unit of Financial Accounting 1 for BCom students under Pune University. GST, Goods and Service Taxes. Before entering to Goods and Service Taxes, GST, let's understand what is tax. Tax is basically classified into direct tax and indirect tax. Now, government collects taxes mainly to finance or support all welfare activities and running the government machinery. That is how the government machinery runs, by collecting taxes from the people. Now, direct tax consists of income tax of various types, income from salary, income from house property, income from business, and so on. Wealth tax, gift tax, and capital gain tax. Wealth tax, to some extent, it is already removed. Now, indirect taxes. Before coming to GST, there were many types of indirect taxes. For example, value-added taxes, otherwise called VAT, custom tax, service tax, excise tax. Now, these all indirect taxes are consolidated into one tax that is called GST, which is also called Goods and Service Tax. Now, in this particular part, we are going to see some of the aspects of GST, Goods and Service Taxes. GST is also known as Goods and Service Taxes. It is an indirect tax which has replaced many indirect taxes in India, such as excise duty, VAT, service tax, etc. The Goods and Service Tax Act was passed in the Parliament on 29th March 2017 and came into effect on 1st July 2017. The students mark the date 1st July 2017. How the introduction of GST in India? Goods and Service Tax is one of the most significant tax reforms implemented in India on 1st July 2017. It is a value-added tax, which means the tax is only paid on the value added during the manufacturing process. GST can be also defined as the destination-based tax, where the tax is collected at the point of ultimate consumption. Mean one who consumes the product or a service, that person has to pay the taxes. Now, how the implementation has taken place? Implementation of GST was started from 1st July 2017 based on the amendment of Constitution Section 101, Amendment Act 2016. India had a complex indirect tax system with the different taxes imposed by central government and the state government. Now, for example, if something produced or sold in Maharashtra, Maharashtra government will have certain kind of taxes, and the national government at the center also imposing taxes. So there are complex and multiple taxes were involved. This resulted in multiple points, cascading taxes, and overall tax burden on business. It was difficult for the businesses to identify what are the different types of taxes, and the government also to collect various types of taxes from various sources. That is why all this consolidated into one tax that is called GST on 1st July 2017 on the basis of Amendment of 101 of Indian Constitution in 2016. Now let's look at it. Tax impact. How the tax comes. Let's assume a product which is manufactured and added a profit and wanted to sell at 100. Now assume that the product has got 10% tax. So 10% is added and it is sold to the other person, wholesaler, 110. And wholesaler wanted to add 10 rupees profit and the cost of the product has gone up to 120 and the tax on 120, 10% become 12. So it will be added and it will be sold for 132. Now comes the wholesaler sells to the retailer. So he adds out of 132, 10%, 10 rupees profit, the cost became 142. On that 10% tax, that become 14.2. Now, the retailer will sell it, pass it on to the consumer at 156.2. So total tax collected from the point of manufacturer to the seller, the cost has gone up to 156.2. Now, when we talk about various aspects of GST, we will tell you who is paying how much and what extent that person will be paying. What is the advantage of it? So let's move on. What is the historical background of GST? In 2006 and 7, conceptualization and introduction of GST, Finance Minister P. Chidambaram proposes the idea of national wide goods and service tax in the budget speech. And later, a committee was formed, formation of empowered committee. An empowered committee of state finance ministers is formed to oversee implementation of GST. The various discussions and meetings went on, recommendations and the decisions came. Empowered committee gave green signal to go for implementation of GST. In 2016, GST Council was formed and GST Council was established, a decision-making committee or council for GST, and in 2017, GST was implemented. What is the key constitutional changes that has happened? Now, prior to GST implementation, the tax has part of both central and state. And the key constitutional change was made for the implementation of GST in India, amendment of Article 246A. The Constitution of India was amended to insert an Article 246A, which provides the concurrent power of both central and state government to levy tax or collect tax. Before GST, the power to levy taxes was distributed between center and the state under different heads. With the establishment of both center and states could levy and collect taxes simultaneously. Creation of GST Council, the 101 Amendment Act created GST Council, the constitutional body comprising of Union Minister, Finance Minister as the chairperson and the state finance ministers. The council is responsible for making recommendation on key aspects of GST such as tax rates, exemption and threshold, etc. Now, before moving to GST, types of GST, let's have a quick review of what we have done. The first part, how the tax is coming into picture. One is direct and indirect, and GST comes under indirect taxes. So normally in the MCQ question, GST, what type of tax? Indirect tax. Now, how GST has come in, removing various types of taxes, indirect taxes, such as value-added taxes, excise duty, customs duty, all this. and replaced by GST. What is the amendment has taken place? 101 Constitutional Amendment Act in 2016. When it was introduced? 1st July 2017. What is the appellate body or the topmost body that will decide about GST? The GST Council, comprising of Union Finance Minister as a chairperson and finance ministers of various states become the members. I hope we have summarized